pulled my keys out, felt something hit the car. I stuck a key in the ignition. As I stick the key in the ignition and looked up, there was this massive dog man, and he had already had one paw, massive paw, on my front windshield and one paw right above my mirror on the driver's side, and the driver's side of my car just pushed down. Just the weight of it just pushed down, and the paw that was on my front windshield, my windshield started cracking.
Welcome back to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. I hope you're enjoying the rebranding right here. Get yourself the Eye of Jupiter logo, new merch on the way. I got a lot of work to do to get there. You know how it is when you rebrand, there's a lot of work involved. Well, ladies and gentlemen, backed by popular demand, I have on Bruce Brown, and he also told me that he's going to say something that he's never said before in any other podcast, and I'm extremely honored, first of all, that he come back on, that he would share that with us. You know, hopefully you're sharing this podcast as well. If you keep coming back, or if this is your first time here, hopefully I earned your subscription today. Go ahead and like the channel. Go ahead and leave a comment. Go ahead and write me if you have any things that you would like to talk to me about, or maybe even come on the show about, and you can do so at the Eye of Jupiter podcast at gmail.com. One more time, the Eye of Jupiter podcast at gmail.com. So with all that out of the way, let's welcome back to the Eye, Mr. Bruce Brown.
Hello, glad to be back.
I'm glad that you're here, man. I'm glad that you finally, I mean, it was a month and a half ago, or about a month ago, since you had that awful cold. Yeah, you offered to come back on after this incredible live show that we had, which I'm sure we could do another one just on the paranormal things that you dealt with while serving law enforcement. I was unaware that you even knew anything about Dogman or had any encounters with Dogman, and you were like, no, I do. And now you're here, man. So, you know, however it is you want to go into it, tell people about yourself one more time. This might be the first time they've seen you. Let's go ahead and go through that, and then we just go into it however you want to, man. You know what you're doing, buddy.
All right. My name's Bruce Brown, former law enforcement officer, patrolman, deputy sheriff, sergeant of patrol, detective, chief of narcotics. That's pretty much all I am. I get out and do a little, do quite a bit of investigations. I go to the woods. I deal with some paranormal things. My biggest thing is Bigfoot and Dogman. I'm going to share something tonight with y'all that nobody has shared. I don't know why. I'm sure I'm not the only one that encountered this, but I guess they have their reasons for not exposing this. But I'll get into it with a good little start at the beginning of it. I went into the woods ginseng hunting, and after I was there 4 or 5 hours and several miles deep into the mountains, and I hunt mostly off of the Warriors Path that runs through Tennessee. Is ancient Warriors Road, caves, Indian mounds, such and stuff, things like that scattered. The mountain ranges are deep. Most of them have springs and small creeks running through them. So I'm down there ginseng hunting, and it's extremely hot, burning up. So I go down to the creek or to cool off, and I see these little rolled up balls of clay mud, about the size of a softball. So I'm intrigued. I'm walking up and down there trying to figure out what would do that. We're in the middle of nowhere, or I am, and I get up to a little pool of water that's probably knee deep, and then the bottom of it is bare footprints, just not bare, but barefoot footprints. In other words, a small Bigfoot. So I'm observing that. I try to get a picture of it, but my camera doesn't take in the water too good, so I couldn't get a good picture of it. So I decided to leave it alone and come back a couple days later and check it. So I did. I got down in the woods right at daylight, waited for the sun to raise high enough to shine down in the hollers there. And while I was down there, I encountered a cryptid that was coming down the spring or creek to where I was sitting at a big rock. It's a huge rock. And I watched him for a few minutes through the brush. He was hard to see, but when he stepped out, now this is a first. I've never heard of this before, and I have seen it. I'm sure other people have seen it. This was a dog man, but he was hairless. He had no hair on him. So you're looking at a flesh creature that has flesh like us, but no hair on him anywhere. So I stayed still on that rock and watched him, observed him for a good 3 to 4 minutes before he spotted me. And then he eases up the hill to go around me. And as he's going up the hill to go around me, he stops at a tree and just stands there. And I can't get a picture because at that time, the leaves are still on the trees pretty heavy. I can catch glimpses of him. So that's when I decided it was time for me to go on down the holler and come across. And I went on down the holler, actually 2 hollers over, and started digging ginseng. And then when I got ready to come out later that evening, I run across him again, and it was a big male. He's probably 6.5 foot tall, hairless. Again, he had the red glowing eyes, which again is unusual for being out in the daytime to see red glowing eyes. And then I made my way back out to the vehicle and left. And then I had went back a few days later to a different part of the same area. Then I was again looking around there, same time ginseng hunting and watching for these things. And I come across a creature coming down a vine, a big grapevine about the size of your wrist coming out of a tree. So I just watched it. As it got so far down, I eased up to it because it wasn't no bigger than 15 pounds. And I was watching it, so I kept getting closer and closer to it. And I had a pair of gloves in my pocket. I pulled one of the gloves out. Instead of putting it on, I just held it up to it as it was coming down the vine to see if it would bite it. It didn't. So I reached up and touched it. It didn't do anything but look at me. So I picked it up and sat down on the ground there and was petting it, trying to figure out exactly what it was. I'm in the middle of nowhere. What's a dog pup doing down in here? So as I'm looking at it, checking it out, I pulled up the side of its gums, and I noticed extremely long canines, very unusual. And as I'm noticing that, he shuts his mouth back. When he shuts his mouth back, I still got a hold of one side of his gum, and I see the bottom teeth that look like tusks that bit up in a pocket in his mouth, right on the outside of his gums.
Okay.
So I looked around to the other side. It was the same way. Well, as I was sitting there petting him, he was just a fur ball. He had no hair on him. I was sitting there petting him. I noticed that his tail was gone. It was about a 3-inch nub, and it was bloody. So wondering what happened to it, looking to it, I don't know where he got it bit off, cut off, or in an accident or something, and just lost his tail. And so his paws were extremely large. So I took and pulled the fur back from his eyes and looked at his eyes, and he had glass eyes. They were just clear like glass marbles, extremely clear. There's no pupils, nothing in there. And that was a little disturbing to me. But after checking him out, he wasn't what you'd call friendly like a pup, jumping around and carrying on. He was just laid back. So then I watched his movements and stuff. And when I set him down out of my lap onto the path there, it looked like a deer path, but it was too wide for a deer path. That his front legs from his elbows to his pad touched the ground when he walked. So messing with him for another 4 or 5 minutes, I decided I better put him back on the vine. There's a mama somewhere. So I put him back on the vine. And as soon as I set him on the vine, his claws retracted and he grabbed a hold of the vine, just started slowly going up the vine. So then I decided it was time for me to leave. So I cut across another couple ridges and was heading back up, and it was again a hot day. So I sat down on a rock, cooling off, and then I heard screams. That was deeper. It was like coyote screams, but a lot deeper. So I'm sitting there watching. I'm halfway up the hill. I'm in a pretty good spot. I don't think anybody or anything's going to see me. So the screams get closer and closer, but they're down the hill where the small creek is. Well, I'm just sitting there watching, trying to figure out what it is, and then it comes into view, and it's a dogman standing on 2 legs. And actually, when he come down, when I first spotted him, he was on all 4s, but he got so far down and he just stood up and looked my direction, and he let out a scream, and just a long, deep scream, high-pitched scream. And as I was on that rock, I felt my breathing started messing up, like my throat was closing, an allergic reaction. I said, well, I'm not as hit as good as I thought I was. So I eased over behind a tree and watched him, and he started coming up my way. So I said, well, I'm hot. I can hear my heart beating through my ears. I said, I'm gonna make a beeline and get out of here. So I was wearing a pair of forestry breeches, pants that's got double zippers, and I had a pistol inside the second zipper. And I decided to go straight up the mountain, and it's a long ways to the mountain. I took off, started up the mountain, and let out another scream, and it shocked me or zapped me, whatever you want to call it. And right. I couldn't move. I was just froze. So then I got up to an old logging road that run parallel to the hill, the mountain. And I walked it for a ways, and it was growed up and saplings and stuff. So I knew once I got to the top of the mountain, there was a fence and another road up there, another logging road. So I get to that logging, get to the top. I cross the fence. The fence is a woven wire. It's about 4 foot tall with 2 strands of barbed wire on top of it, makes it about 5.5 feet tall. So I get across it. When I get into this other logging road, the 4-wheelers and whatnot had been riding it, so it was pretty clean. So I started walking it and looking behind me. Well, this thing comes up to the fence. Instead of jumping the fence, it just steps over the fence like we would step over a toy in the floor. This is a big creature. So I ease on up, and there's a hay field up there, and it had just been cut just weeks before that. So the grass wouldn't but over maybe 5 inches tall. So I got in the middle of this hay field, and by then I had pulled my weapon out, and I'd do a slow walk, look around, slow walk. I made sure I got directly in the middle of this hay field. I could see in every direction. Nothing could come out on me. So I get to where my vehicle's parked, and get in the vehicle. I never take my keys with me to the woods, because you lose your keys in the woods, you'll never find them again, your vehicle keys. So I had stuck them. I had put a towel on my seat. When you come out of the woods, you're dirty and sweaty. So when I got in the car, I just, for some reason, I just hit the door lock, not just out of habit. Put my seatbelt on, was reaching up under my thigh, turned around, reaching up on my thigh under that towel to pull my keys out. As I pulled my keys out, felt something hit the car. I stuck a key in the ignition. As I stick the key in the ignition and looked up, there was this massive dog man, and he had already had one paw, massive paw, on my front windshield and one paw right above my mirror on the driver's side, and the driver's side of my car just pushed down. Just the weight of it just pushed down, and the paw that was on my front windshield, my windshield started cracking.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. So my windshield cracked, about a 2-foot crack, and I knew if I didn't get out, he would knock my windshield plumb out by pushing on it. So I started the car up and backed it up. Backed out of that cautiously, looking behind me, and I could see him behind me, and he come out running, and he jumped on top of my car. So when I come out of this old logging road, out of this hayfield, when I made a right onto a dirt gravel road, I was able to sling him off. Well, he followed me home, but I didn't know he followed me home. And you're looking at a good 18 miles to my house from this particular place.
I've heard this before. They'll do that. They'll follow you a long way back. Oh, yeah.
So he followed me home, and didn't know it. I went in, got settled in, this and that, and then sometime later that night, I've got an outside dog. He's a little mountain feist. He's a good little hunting dog. He stays outside. Well, he starts barking. Well, all of us country folk know that's got dogs that our dogs bark different ways for different things. If it's somebody around the house, they got a certain bark. If it's somebody coming up your driveway in the vehicle, they got a certain bark. So if the varmints are in the chicken coop or anything, they've got a certain bark and carry on. Well, the bark he let out, I knew somebody was outside, but I thought, well, I just didn't see him pulling the driveway. I walked to the back door and opened the back door where he's at in the backyard barking. And when I opened the screen door, he run in the house between my legs, which is, he's not a house dog. You couldn't keep him in the house. So something scared him. So I had the porch light on, flipped the porch light on. I didn't see anything. I walked out there, didn't see anything. So I come in and got a flashlight, went back out there and shined around, didn't see anything. Well, I went back into the living room and was sitting down in the living room, and the dog naturally wanted back out. So I put him back out the front door. In my living room is where the front door to my front porch is. So I walked him back out there on the front porch, and he seemed to be all right, didn't act nervous or anything. And so I went back in just a few minutes, I heard him screaming like something was attacking him. So I opened the front door to go back out, and again, he runs back in, he bolts in. Well, what's going on? So I went and got my shotgun and took my light, went out there, looked around, nothing, didn't see nothing. So I come back in the house and I noticed the dog was going in and out of my rooms on the left-hand side of the house, then the right side inside of the house. Then he went into my bedroom on the left side, and there was a north-facing window, and he got there at that window. Of course, the blinds are closed and everything there, and he started slowly barking up, growling with a whiny voice, again, completely out of his character. And then I have a east-facing window. He eased over to that window and done the same thing. Well, I knew whatever this was outside that window. And there was no way, there was no way I could get to it without exposing myself if I went outside. So I said, well, I'm going anyway. So I got my flashlight, loaded my shotgun, eased out the back door, went to the corner of the house, and when I shined it down the corner of the house where my bedroom window was, there stood a dog man. So I shot him with a 20 gauge shotgun. He took off running.
Was it a bird shot, slug?
It was bird shot. Well, it wasn't bird shot. It was squirrel shot. It was number 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I wasn't expecting to see the dog man there.
Well, right. I'm just asking, just.
You're right.
Yeah.
He had followed me home, and I didn't realize he'd followed me home until I seen him out there, and then I shot him.
Is this the same one with the glowing eyes, Bruce?
No, that's laser eyes. That's laser eyes. Yeah, this one had the glowing eyes also, but it had an amber. When I had seen it in the woods, it had red eyes and then turned to amber or gold and then back to red when he was on my vehicle.
Oh, are you saying that maybe like their eyes, maybe I'm just shooting in the dark here, like they can kind of like through their eyes express their emotion?
Yeah, it's called frequency.
Okay.
They can master frequency. When you master frequency, they're able to do things like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it supernatural because I'm not, as a detective, I'm 70% supernatural, but more, I'm still at 30. I'm not 100% there. It was
that's
supernatural.
Fine. Oh, either am I.
But,
yeah, I'll go 50-50 because I haven't had the experiences that you've had or many others, but at the same time, there seems to be things that are, you and I could do them, and then there's certain things you're like, I don't know what the hell can do that. So yeah, I understand.
Right. So the dog's still in the house. He stays on about another hour or so. He wants back out. So I turn him back outside, and then I stay up quite a while because now I know this thing's followed me home, and the daylight's coming. So about 6:30, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there, I had made me a pot of coffee, and I walked out on the front porch and sat down on the glider drinking the coffee. And right across from my front yard is my garden, and it's about 5 miles of woods in there, heavy woods, and nothing around. So I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I heard that scream, and I knew then he's still here. So I went back inside, and this time I got my 243 high-powered rifle and a fresh box of shells that I'd popped a couple days before that. And I just set it down on the porch there, and I walked over to the edge of the woods, and I got that early in the morning, the sun was rising from the east, casting the sunlight to the west. So I got to the west side of the tree where it was still shady and camouflaged myself in. And then just after a few minutes, he showed himself. He didn't know I was in there. So then I eased back out and got back to the porch and got my gun and loaded it. It was, like I said, a 243. It held 3 shots. So I loaded it and put the box of shells in my back pocket. And I walked back down in the woods and got behind another big tree with shade. And he exposed himself again. This time, instead of shooting him, I shot at him. I shot the ground and the tree next to him. And then he run down a holler just a few yards and went up in the top of a big poplar tree. So I got down to where I could see him good in the poplar tree, so I just started shooting at him, at the limbs and stuff he was on. And then he come down the backside of it and took off, went a few more yards and hit again, and I just shot several rounds off that time. And by then I was in the bottom in the creek in these heavy woods, and I could see him in the distance because he stayed out in that creek. So I just started shooting around him and just kept pushing him, and we crossed a couple ridges then.
Yeah,
and then I pushed him out of the area and never seen him since. So
wow. Could you describe this thing? I mean, I've heard ones that have like a bulldog head, ones that look like the wolfman head. I've also heard ones that look like hyena. or hyenas, better said. Could you describe it for us?
He was around 6.5 to 7 foot tall. He wasn't that much taller than I was. He had an upper build like a human torso. He had extremely long. The paws where the toes come out of the paws were more human-like with extremely long nails. His claws were probably 5 to 6 inches long. So when he was at my bedroom window standing up, it looks like he could almost touch my drain, my gutter.
Yeah.
So that's when I shot him, because I shot him with squirrel shot, which didn't hurt him, but he got the message. But he had a shorter snout. He had the red glowing eyes at that time. Excessively long black hair. And then he had the back feet of just like a canine. And the tail was probably 2/3 the length of him.
Okay.
So, extremely long tail on him. So when he was down on all fours, he was extremely long. So he could have been easily 10 feet long.
Right.
Down on all fours, counting his tail. So
when he's standing up, his tail is touching the ground, dragging on the ground.
Right. Yeah. But,
you're so candid and nonchalant about it. And when did this happen, Bruce?
This was 2017, 2018, somewhere in there.
Not even 10 years ago. And so you were still active in law enforcement.
I had just got out. Yeah.
You just got out.
So
in the daytime, chilling, everyone's working. During the week, you get to go out and do some ginseng hunting. I got you, man. That's what I like. I love those kind of stories.
Right.
But I don't necessarily. Well, I do love the story, but I don't love that it happened to somebody like you, or anybody for that matter. It's just that these things are. Why are you're so calm about it? Like,
well,
what is it about it? How are you able to do that?
You ever heard of Monad? I think I sent you a link on it.
Monad? Is that the one that you sent me over Facebook?
Yeah, frequency links.
Yeah, I seen it real quick, but I honestly didn't have the chance to take a look at it. Oh, okay. I'll take a quick gander at it over here real quick. Monad. All right, Mr. Bruce Brown. The ringing in the ear and the sign of the monad. Jesus taught way chosen ones have ringing ears is the frequency of the monad. Okay, could you maybe summarize what that is? The ringing in the ears?
The Bigfoot cryptids who have mastered this, not all of them, have mastered this to where they can walk in and out of the veil. They can walk in and out of dimensions. That's the reason why people who see them, say in an open field, and sitting there taking pictures of them, the pictures are blurry, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Well, it didn't run across the field, it just disappeared.
Yeah.
It just vanished in plain sight. Well, that's called the monad. And what that is a frequency that once you get to that frequency, it lets you see things and do things. Well, I've not mastered the monad. I have just practiced of what Jesus taught these to only his disciples.
Okay.
So by using frequencies and keeping an open mind, the ringing in your ears, you can see things that normal people can't see. So that makes you more acceptable for these things to show themselves to you. I know it sounds crazy, but there's actual proof in the Bible of that.
It doesn't. I kind of come more from the Eastern mysticism side of things a little bit more. Like there's yogis and people in monasteries in Tibet and other places in the Himalayas who can actually get into such a meditative state that they actually disappear themselves. This has been documented. You won't find it on National Geographic or any of your science literature, but yes, it makes complete sense, Bruce.
Yeah, see, when you get into places like you're talking about, they've got those round things that on spinners. When they spin it, it makes different sounds, those frequencies, and
Uh-huh.
that puts them in that enlightenment stage.
Oh, you
And
mean like the
frequency,
singing bowls or whatever that is, you mean?
right, right. That puts them
Right.
in. That gives them that. Uh,
That vibration, that frequency. I got you. Yeah.
right, the vibration, the frequency. It opens things up to them to better understand what
So
they're.
maybe that's when I don't know if you know much about it, but maybe that's when see I know I really enjoy like reading on psychedelics because people are looking for, you can get a religious experience just from being, a Christian or even not. Um, but there's people who are searching and seeking that, especially nowadays in this whatever world this is at the moment.
Mhm.
And they'll go down to like Peru and take this thing called ayahuasca. And have you heard of this ayahuasca?
Yes,
I'm sure you have. Being a narcotics officer, yes, of course you
yeah.
have.
Well,
Preaching to the choir here.
right. The Indians, they smoked peyote,
Oh yeah,
and they
okay,
believed you need to be extremely high to be able to be in the spirit realm because of the frequencies and the vibrations.
yeah. They're
You
seeing
know,
like people. I've read Dr. Strassman's book. What is it? He's got a very famous book out, and it's about dimethyltryptamine (DMT), and he would write down what people were under a clinical setting in New Mexico, writing down under clinical, in a hospital, what they were experiencing once they came back. And it's a lot like a dream, like when you remember things in a dream, and if you don't like let it go through your head when you first wake up, you forget about it. So that's why he
right.
wrote it all down. And these people were in like, there's in machinescapes, ice worlds, like Star Wars or something. And people
Mhm.
under ayahuasca will see, like things like UFOs made of feathers and glowing lights and jaguars and all kind of crazy things. So
Right.
it's just maybe just a different means to get to this MOAD frequency in which you're talking about.
Yeah, the monad. Yeah,
Moad. What am I? That's a race, isn't it? The MOAD. I
yeah,
think that's a race.
yeah, yeah. So
Whoops.
I have ringing in the ears. I was born with it. I've
Okay.
been to several specialists when I was a youngster. My parents took me. My daddy was on military for 33, a little over 33 years. So,
Wow. That's a
uh,
long time.
yeah,
That is a
he's in the
long time.
he's in the Navy, and he's a nuclear warhead specialist. Uh, so I had seen the best doctors, and of course, they all say tendonitis, but no doctor can cure tendonitis.
No.
And then uh, seeing these Bigfoots and these cryptids, I started studying on this. Why am I seeing it? And there's other people spend just as much time in the woods as I do. Why they're not seeing it? Because they're not acceptable to it, because they're not in that frequency.
Right. Are you saying that the quote unquote tendonitis is making you, I would just say, predisposed to have the ability to see these things more than others?
Right, because you're putting out a frequency. Your ears are ringing the frequency, and these cryptids can hear that, and that brings them to you.
Right.
They'll expose themselves to you.
Incredible. Incredible. That's something that has yet to be, at least I'm sure it's been discussed somewhere, but I haven't heard. Do you happen to know your blood type by any chance?
No, I don't. I mean, I should, but I don't.
I, I'd be willing to bet it's negative. Either it's O negative, B negative, A negative, because I've also heard that people, I've been through this, part of the thing too, going through this journey of trying to figure out what this stuff is and helping people talk about it as well as give people, who've had experiences talking to other people and connecting them. That people with this O negative, or excuse me, I can't think of the word of it, but it's a negative blood type, and that they are also susceptible to like paranormal activity and things of that nature. And it all comes from like the southern France, somewhat Basque region of Europe, and that blood
Mm.
type kind of the people who have that for some odd reason, Bruce, seem to have that ability as well. I just wonder. I would love to, if you ever had a chance to figure that out, maybe go talk to your doctor. I'm sure he's on record somewhere. Of course, being in
Right.
being in the sheriff's office, you had to take a blood test somewhere.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere. It's just
Yeah.
and I've probably been told about it. I just don't. That's not one of them things I've kept up with. I guess
The only reason I
Uh,
remember mine because it was on my dog tag. So I'm O positive.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I
Right.
remember. Very interesting. So for you, it's just you're just saying basically to answer the question that I asked you about 10 minutes ago, you're just saying, the reason that it's normal for you is because it's been your whole life. So when you discuss it, it doesn't bring those emotions in, because for some people, when they see it, it's a very shocking thing. But you've been dealing with, Sasquatch or Bigfoot ever since you were young fishing.
8
When
years
you were, I
old,
think, 8
flying
years old,
kites.
right? 8 years
You know?
old, exactly. So, and then all the paranormal things. So this is just, and is this the only time you've encountered this Dogman thing?
No, I've encountered Dogman for years. Back in the day, the older people called them lions. If you've seen
Lions.
one, yes.
Oh,
If you see, because they had the heavy mane, if you've seen one, they wouldn't talk about it because it would mean sickness or death in the family. So the older
really?
people, Appalachian people, wouldn't discuss it. You'd have to be a close family member before they would tell you about it, and then they would wait a few days superstitiously, and especially after 1 o'clock in the evening, they could tell you. But they had these ways, and when they would see one, they would call it a lion because that's what it looked like to them.
So it was
But
like
even though it was
a
different color,
harbinger,
right,
like a omen of sorts.
right, right.
Okay.
Mhm. So that since they didn't quite understand that it was a creature, they just took it as a sign of omen, like you said, and they wouldn't talk about it. And then, of course, family members, my grandparents and great grandparents, and some of the elderly people in the community, once they got to know you as a kid and stuff, and you'd ask questions, they would tell you about it. But they would say, if you see this, don't talk about it for 3 days, and make sure it's on the third day, it's after 1 o'clock, or it'll come through.
And then
They
imagine
just
being a enforcement officer, being called around different parts of the county or state that you're in. You meet with a lot of people. You're trying to connect with them, which is what law enforcement should be doing, is not only to protect and serve, but also being in connection with the community.
yeah,
Knowing you, that's what you did. So when
yeah,
you do this, these stories come out.
right,
Wow,
right.
man.
Called
What a
community
wealth of knowledge.
called community policing. They've got away from that here lately, but years ago we all did community policing. If we got a call at a house and another officer wasn't familiar with it, somebody in the department and we could tell them what their dog's name was,
Right.
what their house looked like, what their wife's name was, what their children's name was, what their ages were, what vehicles they drove, because it was community policing. And
Right.
so you made a lot of friends. You got to eat supper with a lot of different people throughout the communities in the county.
Yeah, man.
And
Americana, man. I miss it.
yeah,
I miss it, man.
so yeah, so you get to hear a lot of things. You get to see a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
But the hairless dog man, uh, when I had my experience with it, I went back to Google, YouTube, everywhere, trying to find somebody else that had that experience. It's never been on a podcast. It's never been on a TV show. It's never been talked about. And I found that unusual because I can't be the only one that's seen it unless, we get into the mountains and when superstition comes in, people won't talk about it.
Yeah. Appalachian is known for that stuff. There's a lot of witches and large birds and stuff too, also like harbingers. If you see a large owl or large
Right.
crow, where they're like, if you see that, that's death. Do not talk about it. Don't mention it. Walk away from it. If you hear, have you ever heard of people being like children being called into the forest? Have you heard of stories like that too?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've had that happen to me.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yes. Me and another guy was into the woods, and we were coon hunting. It was late at night, and me and him were together. There was nobody else back in these woods. An elderly man had owned it. He lived by himself, and it was almost 1,200 acres. So there were no homes close, 2 miles to the next house. So we're back in there, and we hear a couple tree knocks, not paying any attention to it because we're coon hunting basically, and then you hear whoops, and then he would say, "Hey Bruce, did you hear that?" And then out of the woods, up on top of the hillside, somebody'd holler, say, "Hey Bruce, did you see that? Did you hear that?" And it'd just freak us out, We'd be like,
It's not the first time. Has any of them ever offered to help you?
Yes.
Like, what did they say? What did they say, Bruce?
When they offered to help, if you get in a bad situation, I failed ginseng hunting around a spring where it was muddy and come down on my hip. I thought I broke my hip. I couldn't feel my leg for over an hour. And just out of the corner of my peripheral vision on the right side, here comes this massive hairy man. Because they all look different. They're like us. There's no two exactly the same. They all, we're humans. We got 2 legs, so on, arms, eyes, but there's a little bit different facial structure to these things, and they have different personalities too. And it comes down there, and it says, you've got to get out of here before it gets dark, or you won't find your way out. So, and it didn't say it in a sense to where it was actually speaking, but you understood what it said. It was like a chirping noise, a mimicking noise of a bird, but you understood what it said.
Yeah,
and
the reason I'm asking is because I'm talking to I'm still trying to get her back on again. Her name is Awiza, and she's a Northwest Native Tracker. You've probably seen her on the lives. And she told me that there's a type out there that offers to help, and if you take that help, you're in a bad way. And it literally said to her, "Hey, do you need any help?" And she was like, "No, I don't." It took her bow and moved it, and she bent down to pick it up, and it was like, "Hey, can I help you?" And she's like, "No," and then I had to get up out of there. And that is so scary. But the way I even had on Ernie Daviau, where the thing was trying to communicate with them, but with sign language. It's fascinating.
It's the female ones that do that. I think I know they're the leader of the most packs I've run across. They get closest to you. They will speak, they will stand down the big males. They'll argue with them, but they will get closest to you. And some of them can actually know certain words. And one of the words that I've heard said to me is help. And I'd be like, I don't understand. I'd be like, help.
What?
And
yeah.
So I would follow them, and they'd lead me to an entrance to a cave. And then when I get to the cave there, then it would be like, no,
don't go in.
And so not knowing what that means, when I get home and I'm thinking about, help, there's nothing. This female didn't appear to have anything wrong with her. So maybe I needed to gift. Maybe they were hungry, because that particular year was a drought. We didn't have a good nut crop. So I had driven by a stand where a guy had these big bags of pecans. So I'm like, well, I know they've never seen a pecan, because around here, that's just not a native tree. We do have them in orchards in certain places, but it's just not a native tree. So I got 4 big bags of pecans, and I drove back up there, and I walked. I was probably a good 3 miles back there to the caves. I walked to the caves, and I put the bags there, and this blew my mind. It said, "Thank you, thank you." And just repeated it till I walked out of sight.
Damn, dude.
So it was just a deep voice. And then the ones down on the Cumberland River that I become really good friends with, they migrate. They don't stay in one area very long. They follow
Okay.
the food sources. And here lately, with everybody coming in behind these farms and splitting them up, I've lost contact with that group 2 or 3 times, but they were able to find me. So we were able to keep in. But I had this one.
Yeah, please, Bruce.
I had this one female in the group who flirted with me, and that's hard to believe, but I call it a flirt because she was really friendly. I mean, she didn't care to come down and sit down on the rock next to me. If I was sitting on the log, she'd sit 4 or 5 feet from me, and the rest of them would stay at a distance, and they would chatter, and you would think it would be a high-pitched chatter, but it's a low-pitched chatter like a frog making a noise. So
Okay.
so I started doing hoot owl calls when I come in the woods to find them. I would just make a whoo, 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 and they would answer me back every time. And then they knew it was me.
So because from what I hear, like the Dogman seems to be much more aggressive, and then this Bigfoot seems to be much more sociable. Why do you think that is? What is it about the Dogman that makes it so aggressive? What is it? Is it just his nature, or?
Well, the Dogman, there's a werewolf, and then there's a Dogman.
Right.
There's the rogue Bigfoot, and there's the family Bigfoot. You never know what you're going to run into. So when you run across the ones that are the family Bigfoot, and then you have the leader, which is a female, she controls them. If they get aggressive with you, she will stop it. Right, she will stop it. With a Dogman, you very seldom have more than one. I've only had a couple incidents where I've had 4 Dogmen at one time, but they hated each other. And I had called them in with a collar, with a rabbit squeal. And they were making noises at each other, I guess in an attempt to get to the dying rabbit, more of the wolf-like animal instinct.
Right. So they're more like a wolf pack where they kind of like talk to each other, but it's not like I guess you would say.
A wolf pack has a dominator.
Right.
You know, they have 2 in the group that controls the whole group. Dogman's different. Dogman's more of a loner, so he doesn't interact well with other Dogmen.
Okay, so when they run across someone like yourself, and then you picked up one of its babies, I guess I'm supposing,
Right.
then it probably left it there, thinking that it's fine because it's not on a very beaten down trail, but also is, and then smells you, recognizes you. They have some type of sense that's why the one that we were talking about a couple minutes ago was ultra aggressive towards you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm basically asking. Yeah, I think you're gonna. I've had you on so many times, Bruce, in the last, but it's just your wealth of knowledge needs to be heard by many, if not all. And
I've been asked to write books and do movies on it, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not just there yet. You know, I'm not that comfortable with exposing so much of this at one time.
Yeah. Like when I first met you, I thought it was just, oh yeah, there's people who only have Bigfoot encounters,
Right.
And then you were like, oh yeah, we can talk about that. And I was like, okay. And the gentleman that I would call him a gentleman at the cemetery, the 45-minute encounter, and then the airplane incident and all in between. And then it's just been your whole life. How do you keep saying with that, your faith?
Right. My belief in Christ and that's get me through it. I mean, other than those type of things, I mean, I was at the Nashville airport, 90s, and an airplane come past, does a buzz on the tower and come right across the parking lot. He sees me in the parking lot, and I can see him. I can see his uniform, what he's wearing, the whole 9 yards, and he's in a Lear jet, and he's not gaining altitude, and I can see it on his face. He's in trouble, and he makes a right hand bank. When he does, it just drops out of the sky like a rock, and boom, and he's dead. I mean, it just wasn't nothing left. It burnt to the ground.
You witnessed a plane crash.
Yeah, I was on Channel 5, no, Channel 2 News out of Nashville over that, because it took me to tell them what the plane looked like and how the pilot was dressed and stuff for them to know what company it belonged to, because nobody had a company missing. You know, they didn't have a plane missing.
Okay, so you know the FAA doesn't work that way.
Right, but when he come by the tower, why was this ignored? So his wife and kids got a lot of money out of this because they knew he was in trouble. When he crashed, I had to call the news media because the airport says he didn't crash, but the plane's over there at the end of the runway in a holler,
right
smoking. There. Yeah, right there. Everybody could see it. So it
was some secret squirrel mission or something. That's what that was.
It took 30 minutes for the airport fire trucks to get there.
Oh, they just let it burn.
Yeah. I mean, it was nothing left but the jet engines and, you know, just a few metal parts of the plane.
So this has been your whole entire life, man. All right, dude. Yeah. Maybe in a little while, because it's as you're willing, or would be willing, to speak with me more. I really appreciate that, by the way. I think we have a nice mutual respect going on, and
yes, sir.
We have a good communication skills between us, which I'm enjoying immensely. I'm going to have you back on to talk more about the Dogman.
The Dogman is a experimental creature in some aspects. Mm-hmm. It's a mammal in other. It's according to what you run up on. Some of them are I call test tube babies, and where the government's messed with them. Again, most of them are loners, and most of them are killers. But if you can have enough experiences with them, you know how to deal with them. Now that don't mean when I go out tomorrow I won't get eaten by one. I'm just saying that.
Have you ever had to rebuke on your property? Have you ever had to rebuke because of you said you scared the one off, he never came back, but have you ever had to do that on your property?
No,
you haven't had to do that.
No, I haven't. Now I've had them, like I said, come follow me to the vehicle. I've had them to crack my windshield. They broke my side mirror on my driver's side. One had slobbered all over the windshield of the car. Well, I couldn't see how to drive out till I put the windshield wipers on, and you know what happens to your evidence then.
Just smears it, yeah.
Yeah, it's destroyed then, it's contaminated. I've come across a couple dead in the woods, but at the same time, I didn't want to turn them in because the government comes in and they tend to annihilate things that
okay, so that's
bumping the night.
Yeah. I got you. Say no more. I know what you mean. You have to protect you and others. We'll pretend that didn't exist. What you just said there. Yeah. Bruce. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. This is it's gonna take me a minute to digest it. I really did like I'm gonna get it right now. I want to say Moad again, but it's not.
Monad. Yeah, Monad. Jesus taught that to his disciples, and it's about frequency and how you have two different groups of people in the spirit world that try to defer you and make you think differently. But he had taught the monad way that give you spiritual divinity, where you could talk
And discernment.
divinely.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't have to
Right.
pray and ask for nothing. All you had to say was 4 words.
Okay.
You know,
Where
I
can you
am the sign.
where can you find this in the Bible, Bruce? So I can look this up.
That piece I give you there.
Yeah, it tells. Okay.
Yeah. Now that come from one of Jesus' disciples, Philip. Philip wrote that.
Okay.
And that was found in the scrolls in 1945, hidden in a.
Oh, the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. There's some interesting things that I know about that too. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the cross and the sacred mushroom. I don't know if you've ever run across that bit of literature. Very interesting stuff too that I found because everyone finds different routes to get to where they are, and everyone has little bits of information. A lot of these people click on these shows because it's entertainment of sorts, which is true because it's fear, it's scary. But some of them want to try to piece things together, and a lot of them try to piece things together, and it seems the deeper you dig, the more questions actually reveal themselves, and it's astoundingly it's fascinating to me. It's just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, one of those scrolls is called the Book of Philip.
Okay.
So that will give you a lot of insight into frequencies. I know I haven't had a chance to talk to Ron Moorhead or visit with him, but he's just now getting into quantum physics.
Yeah, he had a book out. He read a book. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is about Jesus' teaching, and the one he taught it most to was Philip, his 5th disciple. And it basically comes out to quantum physics. So it's very interesting.
It is, isn't it? That is.
It took me years to figure out why I was having all these sins and all these things were happening around me, and why I was always in the right place, good or bad.
Yeah,
you know,
the right or wrong time.
Right.
Depends how you look at it.
and some of the farmers and people that have the encounters, it's come and got me to help it get it off their farms. Asked me why I'm so calm, and I said, well, it's about frequency, having an open mind, and showing no fear. Doesn't mean when I get home, I've got to unwind and process it, you know. So, but a lot of things in life, and you were in the military. If you showed fear, you know, fighting the enemy, they pretty much let you know they won. And if you didn't show any fear, it showed them that, they're in trouble.
Yeah, they used to do that like during World War I or II when they would have the trench war when they had the trench warfare, they would yell out
charge each other. Yeah.
They would yell out across the the no man's land, they would call it, the dead lands, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
They would yell out things in English and try to like mess with you psychologically.
Yeah, intimidate you. So
yes. So you have to be sound of mind and heart, and connection to a higher power definitely helps me. I know that, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have that. I want to go home. I'm in this foreign country, and I want to go home. So you're going to fight with everything you got.
Yeah, gotta finish the job.
And use smarts you didn't even think you had to get out of those predicaments.
That's true, man. That's so true. Dude, it's great talking to you. We'll keep in touch, and whenever you're willing, we'll make a date in the future. It's always a pleasure to have you on, man. Always.
Man, I appreciate you. Think a world of you.
Think the world of you
my first podcast was with you. My first coming out talking to anybody about this was with you.
With me?
I had to keep quiet. Yes.
I had no idea.
I was pulled in by the military so many times to keep my mouth shut. It was unreal. So,
really? Men in Black too, maybe?
Well, they all show up in Men in Black or dark green dungarees.
Men in dark green. Fair enough.
Yeah.
As long as they Will Smith, we're good to go.
Now, they didn't have that little wand to erase my memory, but
no, they use other tactics. I understand. Yeah. Well, Bruce, it's great talking to you, buddy, and I'll see you around, man. Okay.
All right, appreciate it. You have a good one.
I hope, yeah, you too. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We are the Eye. We are aware, and I love you all.